Hello, Emergency Management. This is David Russell. I'm here to talk about the theory of professions and how it pertains to emergency managers. But first, we need to establish the theory of the professions. The theory of professions is the understanding that when a group of people want to pursue some kind of endeavor, whether it's to do medical things, to do legal things. Well, I've got a few examples here, right? So you talk about people that need to be taking care of clearing our land, bringing down the trees. We got lumberjacks, all right? This is the chainsaw. I'm at Party City, by the way. Happy Halloween. Couldn't resist. We got our butchers, okay? There's a certain style. There's an established way of cutting up, say, a cow. We have different cuts of meat, and this has a long heritage. Beef is actually just cow in French. Now, barbers. This is kind of gruesome, but at one point there was actually a guild, an established master barber thing going on. It's kind of died out, thanks Gillette. And then we have things like detectives. Anybody seen Columbo? They have theories about how they do things. Criminology might be kind of the bigger study of that, if you will. And on that note, we also have law enforcement. So the way that we handle people when they're breaking our laws, when they're not acting right, etc., is standardized because they are a group of professionals. One of the most stereotypical professions, though, is probably medical. A doctor, a nurse, etc. This is a really cheap stethoscope. But we get into some more interesting ones. We have politicians. That's also a profession. It didn't used to be, but now it's a very intricate process, and so you have very specific things you do. We also have engineers. That's right. Tony Stark, to the day and die. But what I'm closest to, personally, I'm going to be an officer in the Air Force, is the profession of arms. They didn't have any flight suits here, so go Army, as it were. Also, sailors. Okay, there is definitely a maritime law, a maritime code that you need to know to be an effective sailor to do anything on a boat. And last but not least, whether we want to admit it or not, to a certain extent, terrorists. Terrorists with a T also fulfill some of the embodiment of professionals. But how does this relate to emergency management? So we have the 4 phases of emergency management. I'd like to talk about response. Okay, if you are not operating as professionals with other emergency managers when it's time to respond, when crap is hitting the fan, when that Cat 5 hurricane's coming in, when that giant earthquake of 7.5 magnitude is shaking up the Bay Area, if you're not ready to use the right verbiage and be unified and say, this is our process, this is how we do it, these are our objectives, people die. And for that reason, emergency managers always need to remember that they are professionals. And whether you think the verbiage is stupid or you think learning about, this, that, or the other makes it great, you've got to unify as a profession to save lives. This has been David Russell, Emergency Management, the theory of the professions and how it relates to emergency management. Happy Halloween.